All right, good morning, Nub Nation. You know what they say, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. All right, so today I am actually completely honored. Burton Snowboards reached out to me about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and they asked me if I would come on and talk to all the employees from Burton via Zoom and kind of just tell my life story. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May coming up. So I'm completely honored and proud to be invited to speak to Burton Snowboards. I mean, one of the most legendary companies. Obviously, they've been around since my childhood, and I've never been really into snowboarding that much, but I used to have Burton VHS videos. I obviously know what Burton is, and it's definitely a legendary brand. So to have them reach out to me and have me come to them to, I don't know, talk about like the ups and downs and how to find stoke, and I don't know. I don't really know how to put it into words, but I'm honored. So thank you, Burton. And I'm gonna film the whole thing. Probably put a couple of snippets on this channel, and then I'm gonna put the whole video on my second channel. But yeah, we're getting on Zoom, and we are going to talk to everyone from Burton Snowboards. Heavy claims. Let's go. All right. Good morning, Nub Nation. Right now, I'm currently about to log on to Zoom. I am doing a talk with Burton Snowboards today, all the Burton employees, about being stoked, pretty much. But, damn, I blew it with this background. It's a little blown out. Hold on. Let's see what we got. All right, we're living it. That's what we got. So I got to get into the meeting, so I can't really waste any more time. I'm actually late. Thank you very much. So we're doing it. All right, I made it.
All right, sweet.
What's up, everybody?
So this is, firstly, I just wanted to say super special thank you to Kev, Russ, Rock Scully, and the whole Wind and Waves crew for connecting us to Ben. We super appreciate it. We super appreciate everything you guys do. And this is really awesome. And Ben, just thank you so much for your willingness to talk about this. And it's such a raw and sometimes tricky and challenging subject. So just super appreciate your willingness, and we really appreciate it. And to everybody else, if we can just all mute, and if you have questions, we'll just kind of save them until the end, and hopefully we'll have some time. So with that, here's Ben.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. I want to say I'm honored. I appreciate you guys, let me come on and talk about it. All this stuff is really important to me, and it's pretty crazy. I never thought that I'd be speaking in front of, Burton Snowboards, which is, I'm honored to be here. So thank you very much. And I haven't really done this too much, but I do have a couple notes, and I'm kind of just going to dive in. It's pretty, what I would say, like, mellow. I don't have a big structure. I'm kind of just going to tell my story, and, I'm doing this to kind of just raise awareness, and I just want the world to know that, this type of energy is out here. Like, for me, the overall picture is putting your energy into the right place, and things working out. It's kind of like, just believing in what you believe in, and things working out for you. So I don't know. We'll see. This is my first big speech, I would say. So thank you guys for having me. And my name is Ben Gravy, if you don't know who I am. I'm a surfer from New Jersey. I grew up in Pennsylvania, actually 2 hours from the beach, and I started surfing about when I was about 8 years old. Both of my parents are from the Jersey Shore, and they ended up moving to Pennsylvania just so my dad could run his landscaping business. And over time, our whole family worked our way back to the beach through surfing, and it just became a big part of our lifestyle. And here today, I'm here to talk about a lot of the issues and the challenges that I faced growing up and kind of becoming an adult, and my personal challenges with alcohol, and yeah, just kind of finding who I am and getting to the place that I've gotten to over the past 32 years. Just as an overall picture of what I was going through, I would say at my lowest point, I got to a point where I completely gave up. I didn't see that I had any future for myself, and I didn't see a way out. And I was always looking at the short term, and I was always looking at ways that I could get out of my situation the easy way. But the truth is, there is no easy way out. And I never in a million years, from where I was then to where I am now, thought that I would ever be in the position that I'm in. And this mindset that I've adapted has changed everything for me. So without further ado, we're gonna have to rewind all the way back to the beginning. So my childhood, you know, I grew up as a totally normal kid. I had a great life. My dad owned his own landscaping business. I had a totally normal upbringing, and I think the abnormal thing for me was, you know, I didn't have very much trauma in my early life that would bring on something like you know, an addictive personality. But it can happen to anyone, truly. Addiction does not discriminate. And the one thing that's a little abnormal is my alcoholism actually runs in my family, and it was a really hard thing for me to kind of escape as I got older. But all of my grandparents are alcoholics. A lot of my aunts and uncles are alcoholics, and my parents are both 35 years sober. So I remember when I was a kid and me and my brothers first started getting into drinking, my older brother would always say, you know, it's in our genes, we're destined for it, you know, there's not really anything we can do about it. And for a long time, I actually kind of believed it. And I kind of fell into that mindset. And it took me a really long time to wake up and realize that I can make decisions for myself. For a really, really long time in my life, I just let my life happen to me. I didn't grasp the reins of my own destiny for many, many years. And I think that is part of the, you know, the addiction and the alcoholism, kind of telling you that, you know, this is it, you're good, this is what you're doing, this is the easy escape from having to take responsibility. And that was a very eye-opening thing when I finally grabbed the reins to my own destiny. So to go back to my childhood, I started surfing when I was 8 years old, and I started competing 9, 10, 11. I would do ESA contests, NSSA, any local little events that I could do. And I got into competitive surfing and sponsored surfing really quickly. So by the time I was 14, I was on the ESA All-Star team. With the best kids on the East Coast. I was traveling around the world. I went to Australia, Hawaii, California with that team. And then the very next year when I was 15, I qualified for the United States surfing team, which was the best 6 kids in my division, which was under 16. And so best 6 kids in the nation. And I had an opportunity to go to Tahiti and surf in the World Championships for my country. And this is actually the trip. I turned 16 years old in Tahiti. during the World Championships, and this is the trip that I discovered alcohol. You know, it was around me my whole life, with my relatives and everything, but my parents were sober at the time. They've been sober my whole life, so, you know, everyone always in my immediate family always steered me away from drinking. But I was finally out on my own. I was a young, impressionable kid. I was surfing for Billabong, and I had a lot of people around me that were a lot older than me that partied hard. And so it was my 16th birthday in Tahiti, and I remember one of the older kids just being like, dude, you know, it's your birthday, like, have a beer. And I remember I grabbed the 24-ounce beer out of the fridge, and I drank the whole thing in one guzzle. I drank it because I had no idea how to drink, and I just guzzled it down. And I still remember to this day the feeling hitting me, and I was instantly hooked. I was absolutely in. During that time period, over the next 3 years, I would say, when I was still chasing a professional surfing career, I was from 16 to 19, I was traveling a ton. U.S. surf team, I was riding for Billabong. I was doing pro junior events. I was Hawaii, California, up and down the East Coast doing events, and I was partying a lot. And, you know, I had a lot of people around me who, you know, would openly offer me drugs, openly offer, you know, anything. But I didn't really care for drugs. I really only wanted to get drunk. I don't know why, but it was my drug of choice. And when I look back on this time period in my life, I obviously have a more mature mindset now, but I look back as a kid, and when I was a kid, I remember, I can just kind of feel like how these times felt to me. I wasn't embracing the moment of my life, you know. I kind of just thought that, like, this was it, you know. I got to, like, professional surfing, and I was in the mix, and I was living it, and I was competing. I wasn't doing well. I had just come off a really good amateur career, a couple of East Coast titles, you know, like, I did what you could do in an amateur setting, and I was now in the pro, trying to qualify for the world tour, you know, like, just living the dream in what I thought. And I was just partying a lot. And when I look back, I kind of see this as the black and white scene in a movie where it's eerie, and it's like this weird music, and, like, all the voices are muffled, and, like, it was me just allowing the world to happen to me and not taking responsibility for myself. And just allowing things to happen to me instead of me going out and making things happen for myself. So this period rode out. I became, you know, a failured professional up-and-coming surfer. My results dwindled. My alcohol consumption went up. And it was kind of this crisscross of, like, my surfing going like this, my drinking going like this. And really, this is the point where I had to make a decision to walk away from surfing. I had just lost my main sponsor, who was funding all the travel and all the contests and everything. It was a company called Alliance. They're out of business now, but they were funding my junior career. And I lost them. And I actually remember losing the sponsorship, and I was actually at a party, and I was drinking, and I remember getting the call, and they were like, you know, it's not going to work out, you know, whatever. And I remember just, like, drowning it down with a beer directly after that. And it seemed like every loss in my surfing career, every bad deal that happened, every bad thing that happened in my personal life, and not only that, every good thing that would happen to me, any good result, you know, if I made a heat, I would always either celebrate or ease the pain with alcohol. And this became a very, very normalized part of my life. Looking at it now, it's madness, but at that time period, it was completely normal for me. And this is what I would call probably act 2 of my life, where I decided to pull out of surfing and kind of quit competing and trying to become a professional surfer. And thank God this whole time I had a secondary passion for filmmaking. I actually started operating a video camera when before I really have memories. My parents had a video camera, and I remember they bought me another video camera for Christmas for like my 8th birthday, around the time that I started surfing. And I grew up filming everything. And I used to edit on VHS tapes, and I would I would like plug a stereo in, and I would have like the video camera plugged in, the music plugged in, and I would edit to one tape, and then I would like get all the rough cuts on there, and then put all that with the music onto another tape, and I would stack the VCRs, and then I would make these movies, and I would make my family and friends watch them. And obviously they were terrible, but it's one of the other things besides surfing that I was always passionate about. So the cool thing for me, through all these gnarly times and all these, you know, this whole junior career and all this stuff, I actually have documented footage of all this. I was shooting on high 8, and then I moved to mini DV, and I was filming the whole time. So I always edited. I moved on to the computer, and I started making DVDs, and this was I had surfing and I had this. And when surfing didn't work out, my parents kind of were like, what do you want to do? And I said that I wanted to become a filmmaker. I always thought that I could be a Hollywood director. When I was a very young kid, I used to direct horror movies in my garage with my brothers and make them like act out scenes. But yeah, so I decided that I was going to go to film school. And now I can look back and say that this is one of the best decisions I've ever made. But at the time, it was a really gnarly time period for me, because, you know, I kind of walked off. I kind of left surfing, and I was very prideful, so I didn't really want anyone to know how much I actually cared about giving up the sport that I loved. You know, my whole goal when I was a kid was to become a world champion surfer. And little did I know that how unrealistic that was, but, you know, anything's possible if you believe in yourself, and back then I truly did. And it was really hard for me to walk away from surfing, but my pride kind of, I would say, covered that up. And when I went into film school, I kind of, you know, I did embrace film school. I can't say that I didn't, but of course I had drinking to ease my pain. And you know, I had a great time in college. It wasn't like I was depressed the whole time over surfing, over losing that part of my life. And I still surfed recreationally, and I did a couple contests here and there, but it just wasn't the same. So what I can say is that over the next 4 years, as I learned about video production, I had a lot of downtime. I went to school in Philadelphia, in the city. It was a school called the Art Institute, and I had a lot of downtime. It wasn't the same as surfing, you know. You're not on the move all the time. So between classes, I would go to the bar, and you know, after class I would go to the bar, and on the weekends I would party really hard. And it was also another time period in my life where I didn't really embrace the moment. And I can look back on that and say, like, yeah, I learned a lot, but there's a lot more that I could have done. And I didn't know at the time, but this was a point in my life when the drinking was really building and taking over everything that I did. You know, it was, once again, if I got an A, I would drink, I would party. If I got an F, I would drink it off. I would ease the pain. So any good thing and any bad thing that happened to me, I would rage. And I think this became a very big part of my life. It's a cycle that kept repeating itself, and I was completely unaware to this. I thought it was completely normal to binge drink, you know, very often, almost daily. And so I finished college, and I got into the field of editing, and I actually landed a dream job. I was working in Bristol, Pennsylvania, and I was editing action sports. I remember my first episode that I did was for the Do Tour, and it was a skateboarding video. And then I had the opportunity to edit the U.S. Open of surfing for a big network. I can't remember, but I was one of like 6 editors who was working on that stuff, and it was honestly, for an editor, it was an amazing job. It was a great opportunity for me, and it once again, you know, it's one of those things where like I could have embraced it a lot more, and I didn't, because I was completely preoccupied by my other life, which was slowly and surely taking over, and I still didn't see it. I remember one night specifically, I had to be at work at 7, and I lived an hour and a half from my job, and it was something really dumb. I can't remember. It was something that we were celebrating, and it was me and my friends, and I drank until 5 a.m. And I had to be at work at 7, so pretty ridiculous. So I went into work, and I was obviously not, I was not with it. I was not there, and I just remembered like the feeling of being like, I'm not even here, so why am I here? And at this point in my life, I was pretty much, this is one of the lowest points for me, I would say, as far as my drinking goes. A lot of downtime working in the editing room, hours and hours on end, 5 to 6 days a week, and drinking every night, no exercise. Pretty much got down to 0 surfing, and I actually I ended up getting up to 227 pounds. I was really, really unhealthy. And it was pretty much another situation where I couldn't really see myself from the outside, and I thought everything was rock and roll, and I was like living the dream, and it was pretty much all the delusion that alcoholism, you know, brings into your life. Me just not thinking, drinking, and being completely delusional. And my excuse was always that if I can keep this job, and I can keep editing, and I can keep becoming like successful in the world, in the eyes of society, then I don't have a problem. And I think this is the time period when I actually started considering, you know, I'm creeping up on my mid-20s, and I was considering like, maybe this is an issue, you know, like, where do if I'm this crazy now, where do I go from here? But I would always just get those thoughts out of my mind. So through filmmaking and editing and working in the production industry, this thing came out in 2006, and it was called YouTube. And I was extremely interested in this. So I started with YouTube in 2006, almost directly after it came out. And it was one of those things where me and my brothers they're both, you know, creative guys as well. We've all gone different paths. My older brother works for my dad. He does landscaping and hardscaping. My younger brother, he also makes YouTube videos to this day, but he does these interesting house tours where he goes into a house where the bank has sold the house, and he goes through and he shows all the stuff in the house, and it's really interesting stuff. But they're both interested in filmmaking in their own way. So when YouTube came out, we got together and we were like, this is awesome. So how our early YouTube career started was with shock value, because in those days YouTube would you know, you would go viral off of things that were really stupid. So we fancied ourselves an up-and-coming jackass crew on YouTube. So we would pretty much do anything that any type of stunt that would get some type of attention, you know, getting hit in the nuts, or jumping a car, or jumping a bike over a big dirt jump and lighting the middle of the jump on fire. And you know, this is the kind of stuff that we were doing, and this is the kind of stuff that would garner attention. And our channel actually grew pretty big, and we got to the point where we were actually pulling in, you know, a couple $1,000s a month off of this, which was really, actually, really, it was cool at a certain point, but it was really bad for me, because kind of as we were doing these stunts, I was also tying in drinking games and like beer pong videos, and you know, how fast we would do a quadruple beer bong or something like this. And I was finding ways to tie in the drinking with what I would try to consider my career at the time. So what really happened is I kind of ended my relationship with the professional world of video production, and we went in full bore on YouTube. And the stunts were getting completely outrageous. The drinking was getting completely outrageous. And this brings us to 2015, when I completely almost destroyed my entire life doing a stunt. I ended up tearing my patellar tendon, which is a very important tendon in your leg. It connects the bone in the bottom of your leg to your kneecap, and without this tendon you cannot walk. I would have been crippled for the rest of my life if things went worse than they did. So the stunt was pretty simple. I was in the back of a pickup truck, and I was supposed to jump through a sheet of drywall and explode through in super slow motion, and we were going to capture the drywall dust flying everywhere, and I was going to land on these mats, and it was going to be this really cool slow motion shot, or so we thought. And the stunt went horribly wrong, and I ended up flying through the wall, going directly underneath the mats, sliding under the mats, and my left knee hit the ground and actually bent completely sideways, not backwards. It bent sideways, and my leg was touching my butt, and my patellar tendon snapped in half. One of the most important ligaments in your body, I snapped it in half. Half of my patellar tendon was up inside of my leg, and the other half was down near my calf. I had a prior knee injury to this a couple years before, and I remember going to the hospital, and they made me wait really long, and I thought it was a big waste of time because the injury ended up being not that serious. So directly after my injury, I waited a full day to go to the hospital because I was trying to see how bad I really felt. And looking back on this, I don't know how I did it. The amount of pain that I was in was extremely severe, and I was pretty much, it's one of the most painful injuries you can have. Of course, the first thing that I did after my injury was crack a Busch Light and sit on the couch, and I continued to get drunk until I fell asleep. And I woke up the next morning. Thank God I finally went to the hospital. I went in to see the surgeon, and he absolutely lost his mind at me. I showed him the footage, and he was so angry. It was the most intense, angry situation I've ever seen with a doctor. He was livid at what I did, and he was absolutely mind blown that I would have waited a full day to come in. And he told me on the spot that I was going to probably lose my leg, and I was never going to be able to surf again. If he could fix my leg, I would never be able to surf again. And it was a weird moment because at the time I had given up surfing. I had let it go. I was totally onto this stunt thing, and I was onto the YouTube and the video production side of things, and I was only surfing maybe on the weekends just for fun. And but that moment, probably one of the worst moments of my entire life, at the same time became the best thing that ever happened to me. Because in that moment, my entire world fell apart. Everything that I ever thought, everything that I ever knew, nothing mattered except for what the doctor had just said to me. And I was like completely taken back and mind blown that there was a chance that I would never be able to surf again. And after the whole thing, I had a chance to talk to the doctor again once I had recovered from the injury, and I remember asking him and being like, how serious were you when you told me that? And he was like, look, with this injury, about 6% of athletes are able to get back to their sport. And when I look back on that, it makes me trip out, because it's 94% of people would not be able to get back to their sport with this injury, and that's pretty mind-blowing. So I went in to get knee surgery, and after the surgery was a success, I came out, and I had to do 9 months of physical therapy, and I worked on that every day, all day long. That's all I did at my house. I did my physical therapy exercises. That's all I cared about. And this was seemingly, like I said, seemingly this injury was horrible. But without even noticing it, this is the first time that alcohol became taken out of my life. I was sober for the first time in years. I was seeing things clearly for the first time in years. It changed my entire perception of the world, and it changed my entire mindset towards the way that I saw everything. And it really brought me down to a point where I realized what was important to me. And at the top of that was my happiness, my mind, my heart, my soul, like how I greeted every day. Because when I would wake up with the injury, I would wake up not knowing if I was going to surf again, and I would wake up and I would say, wow, I'm alive. Like, I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be alive. I'm blessed to have this leg. I'm blessed if I can even get back in the ocean and swim someday. And so this mindset really changed me. And without even thinking about it consciously, I didn't want to drink anymore. I didn't need to drink anymore. So this, seemingly horrific accident is the thing that definitely set me on this path that I'm on and changed my life. So after I got to completely, I was about 7 months recovered and from my knee injury, and this is kind of where things started to slide a little bit. I was back. I was elated. I was like, I conquered this knee injury. The physical therapist is telling me I'm on track to recover like 90-something%. The doctor is telling me the same thing. So my mind, my disease tricked me. And of course, the first thing that I wanted to do was celebrate. So I started casually having a beer. I remember the first day back, I drank like 1 Heineken. And this point in the year, I think it was summer. And like August, September, October, that like summer to fall period in New Jersey, the waves are really good. And it's a really hard time to be out of the water, I would say. Over the years of not surfing and not being focused on surfing, those were still the months when I would get back in the water and be on it every weekend. So that time period, I really started coping with drinking once again. I just went back to my safe place, my coping mechanism, the thing that's gotten me through. Your mind plays tricks on you, and alcoholism is something that can play really, really crazy mental games with you. And for a long time, I was afraid to talk about this, and I was afraid to admit this kind of stuff. But it's really powerful, and it can make you think some crazy stuff, and it can make you extremely delusional. And at this point in my life, I needed something. I had nothing. All I had was physical therapy. I couldn't work, obviously. I couldn't barely walk. I obviously wasn't able to surf, and I couldn't make YouTube videos. Besides the the videos that I started making during this time period. And this is what got me on track to, I believe, start my vlog. I started filming injury recovery videos in which I could do nothing that I prior thought, like when I used to make videos before this point, I thought that they had to be crazy explosions, fire, cars exploding, my brother riding through the explosion on a bike in slow motion. And I was like, it has to be the craziest thing ever or no one's gonna watch it. And this injury recovery period made me realize that I can connect with people through realness, reality. It doesn't have to be a painted picture of how rock and roll we are. You know, it doesn't have to be that. I'm showing these people my real life. I'm putting it out there and I'm saying, hey, like, I'm human. This is what I'm going through. And I would just share my thoughts. And it was surprising for me because I took this YouTube channel that was like this crazy stunt, jackass, like, it was just a totally different genre, and I started posting the recovery updates of my injury, and you know, I was getting more views on that than the stunts. And I think that is kind of what opened my eyes to, like, the reality of media is that, and really the reality of life is that it's not about, you know, showing how epic you are. It's not about showing how awesome you are. It's, for me, the thing that's gotten me to the point that I am today is actually showing my flaws and showing the things that are wrong with me and why I'm not perfect. And I'm a human too, and we all make mistakes, and you know, I'm okay with that. And so it was a really interesting time. I accidentally created this new genre of YouTube videos for myself. And it kind of overtook me. And I was getting to the end of the year, and I remember it was Thanksgiving, and I was able to walk again. No crutches, no walker boot. I was able to fully walk on my own. No brace. I was pretty much normal again, except I couldn't surf for 2 more months or something, a month and a half. And I remember Thanksgiving hit, my birthday's in November as well, and then the holiday season up to Christmas that year was really, really bad for me because I had nothing to do. I wasn't working, I wasn't surfing, the only thing that I was doing was making, you know, vlogs. So I started just absolutely raging for those 2 months. I would say from Thanksgiving to Christmas was probably the month where it was the absolute worst. I drank every single day. I got obliterated. And my aha moment came on Christmas Eve. I remember me and my younger brother left family dinner like early, and like we went to our local bar. And like we cared about doing that more than we cared about like spending time with our family, which is like pretty sad when I look back on it. But we went into the bar and we were like one of like 10 people there. There's like nobody there except for just, you know, the local people that go there every day and they get drunk every day. And you know, I kind of saw this for myself. This time period when I was doing this, I was stuck in my hometown. I was, you know, going to physical therapy in the morning 3 days a week, and the rest of the time I was kind of just, you know, hanging out, partying. And I was back, you know, completely back on the party train after having such a great awakening with the injury. And it was like a really depressing time for me because I felt like I had this amazing up. And these are all things that are happening in my subconscious, I feel, that just play games with the back of your mind. And I had this amazing up, and then I was back in it. And I was just back in it, heavier and crazier than ever. And this is what I did. So the last month before Christmas, I was going absolutely mental. I drank every day around 4 o'clock till I passed out. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was a lifestyle. And I was kind of accepting the fact that I was never really gonna be more than I am, because that was kind of it for me. I felt like I had reached, like, I kind of gave up on myself is the way to look at it. I was like, I didn't see anything bigger than what I was in. And it's like that continuous thought process that I had the whole time when I was drinking, that I wanted an easy way out. I wanted to escape this without working for it. And I only saw a big picture. And I think that was the problem. So I got to Christmas Eve and I was at the bar and I was completely drunk, and I ended up getting in an argument with the bartender, and I got kicked out of the bar on Christmas Eve before midnight. And I was just kind of, that moment for some weird reason changed me, because I remember walking home and I was like, this isn't me. And I remember just saying this to myself, and I was like, but it is. That was you, Ben. You got kicked out of the bar. Nobody else got kicked out of that bar. Nobody else was too obliterated before 11 p.m. to get kicked out of the bar on Christmas Eve when you should be home with your family or doing something productive. And for some reason, I went to bed that night and I woke up the next morning, and I knew that if I wanted to grasp my life and take control of my life and get that feeling back that I had when I recovered from this injury, that I had to stop drinking. And I woke up Christmas morning and I feel like that is the moment that I gave myself a chance. So that was almost 5 years ago today, and I've made it all these 5 years without going back. But I woke up that Christmas morning and I told myself that I was gonna start making videos. So I started a whole new YouTube channel, and my goal on that channel was to save myself, really. I didn't go into it thinking about views. I didn't go into it thinking about money. I had about 2 weeks before I was able to surf again. And it's really weird how things worked out. Because after Christmas, the New Year started, and I actually got a call from a friend of mine that works in video production, and he offered me an editing job that was remote. And I could work from my computer. So they would essentially send me the footage, and I would just edit and I would send it back. And it was a salaried thing, so I didn't have to rely on every project. So it was amazing for me. I would edit at night and I would film my vlog during the day, and this is how everything began. It was one of the biggest blessings in disguise, and it's weird how life works like that. Like, why did my friend call me that day? I'm sure he still to this day doesn't know. I don't know. And it's almost like something that I don't think about that much. But it set me on this path to be able to fund my personal recovery, I would say. Because this YouTube channel I started was to keep me sober. And I said in the beginning, I was like, yo, this channel is to keep me sober. And in 2 weeks, I'm recovering from this knee injury, and I'm going to surf again, you know, despite what the doctor says, and I'm going to do this. And it became about, and this is probably the greatest discovery and the greatest moment that I ever landed on in my whole life. Because when I was younger, I had all these ideas of what I was going to be. And I had all these ideas of how people perceived me, and how people thought that I should be, and how I thought that people thought that I should be. And when I had to get sober and I had to kind of start this new venture from scratch, and I had to embrace every moment, because to keep myself from using alcohol to cope, and I wanted to take charge of my life. It didn't become about other people. It didn't become about perceptions. It wasn't about what people thought of me, how people perceived me. Did people think I was cool? Did people think that I surfed good? Did people, you know, think that I was worthy? It became about me. And it became about me embracing every single moment of my life with no expectations. And just being grateful that I have this leg, I have myself, and I'm not drinking a beer. And it became about focusing on the small things in my life. And little did I know, I was just trying to stay sober. And I kept focused on these tiny little portions of my life. I finally got back in the water. I started surfing. I was working on my vlog every day. I made a daily video every day for 3 years. I made 990 something videos straight. And that was what I did. And then I had my side gig, the editing job, but really I was focused on myself. I was focused on surfing. And dude, when I got back into the water, I absolutely sucked. I was terrible. But like, it wasn't about surfing. It wasn't about anything but staying sober. So me focusing on all these small things to keep myself sober started piling up. And it's weird when you put energy into the things that are important to you, how much that ball can get rolling. And it can be like a snowball turning into an avalanche. So with no expectations, I started greeting the world for the first time ever. And this is 26 years old. I was finally awake, I swear, for the first time in my whole life. And I can look back at these moments. And like I said earlier, when I was young and surfing and drinking and going through the motions, I see that as like a black and white part of my life. And now at 26, when I was alive for the first time, I swear, and everything felt like it was in color, like it was a vibrant world for me. And I'm gonna come back to this because sobriety doesn't make your life perfect. You know, there's always challenges, but I want to come back to that, and I just want to move on to the rest of the story. Through surfing, you know, I wanted to surf every day. So I eventually started surfing anywhere that I could, and I started finding these small areas that I could surf in, like inside inlets, you know, underneath a pier. I just started finding things that thrilled me, things that were fun for me. And this is where I found novelty waves. And if you know anything about me, novelty waves is kind of the thing that I'm known for on YouTube and in the surfing world. And through this energy of just trying to just get out there and do it, I started surfing all these weird waves because like that was the only thing that was available to me. And I remember before I left Florida, I surfed on the inside of Sebastian Inlet. It's a place in Central Florida where people normally don't surf because there's a lot of sharks in the inlet. But I was riding these lefts like all the way down the line, and it woke something up in me. I just felt like alive from doing that. So I came back to New Jersey after spending a couple months in Florida. I was down in Florida just for the warm weather and just to get my knee back. So I came back home after that, and I remember I was surfing in my hometown at this spot that I call Skeleton Bay, not the Skeleton Bay in Africa, but Skeleton Bay, because it's a wave that's literally in the bay. But I surfed it, and it was that feeling again. Like I felt so alive from just surfing a wave that most people would, you know, not even consider looking at. And I started calling these things novelty waves on my YouTube channel. This whole time I was still building these videos. And that video of me surfing in the bay, at the time my videos were getting like 400, 500 views. And I made this video, this dinky little video of me surfing in the bay. And I woke up the next day, it had 12,000 views. And it woke me up. I was like, this is it. So the very next thing that I did was I went down to Cape May, New Jersey, and I had heard rumors about this ferry boat that goes from Delaware to New Jersey across the Delaware River that kicks off a wave. and I went down there and I surfed the wave behind the boat, and I have a video of it online. It was a lot more difficult than I can explain. The boat went by multiple times, I missed it, all this stuff, but I ended up surfing the wave, and I posted that video on my channel too, and that is the video that absolutely changed my channel and changed my whole life. And that video got like 400,000 views in a week, and all these surf sites shared it, and everyone, all the Instagram, like Stab Magazine, Surfer Magazine, all these sites like shared this video, and somehow from that I became the novelty guy. So from that moment on, I literally have just been chasing these weird waves and creating this vlog, and the process has just, I've put, once again, I'm going back to putting my energy where it matters. I've put so much energy into this that it's grown, and I've branched out. I've created, I have the pineapple logo, which is like the logo that represents my channel, and now I've made clothing with it. And I have a line of soft top surfboards, and this is all kind of part of the idea that, I believe that surfing should be inclusive. It should be about these novelty ways and just having fun and getting out there and using surfing as a tool for your health and your mental health as much as it is, a professional sport. Because I did professional surfing at such a high level and it did nothing for my soul. But for some reason, surfing these novelty waves and surfing with my friends and riding these soft tops on dinky waves is my entire life. It fills me with joy. So through all of this, somehow I've gotten the blessing of being able to do this as a career, and I am forever grateful for everyone who supports me and everything I've been able to do. And I just want to make one point to end the story. Now that I've gotten to this point in my life, it's not, the challenges aren't over. I deal with normal life every day. It's not like I've sailed off into the sunset. I still deal with, urges to drink. Like my mind plays tricks on me. My confidence wavers every day as I continue forward doing this. And it's not, just rainbows and butterflies. There's a lot of stuff that I have to deal with now. There are different challenges than I used to. But the same amount of difficulty. I have situations around me, like I distinctly remember when I first started becoming a little bit successful about this, I remember my aunt saying to me, this isn't going to last forever, so like enjoy it while it lasts. Or situations where, I have friends or people that used to be friends of mine who are still in the old drinking mindset, that don't like that I've changed my life, and they've told me point blank to my face, like, you're part of ruining surfing because I ride soft tops. Just stuff like this that that is, it messes with my confidence, and it messes with my fear. But the thing that all these negative input has done for me is helping me remember why I started to do this in the first place, and that is truly for myself. It's not about other people and their opinions. It's about the simple things that keep me happy. And if I can influence or make other people appreciate a 6-inch wave and kind of bring some joy to someone's day, just because they went out and rode a 6-inch wave because they saw me doing it, then it's all worth it for me. I'm not doing this to impress anybody. I'm not here for any other reason than for myself, and now it's gotten to the point where I'm actually here for other people too. I'm here to keep the stoke for a lot of different people, and to help, mentally and spiritually, and show the world that you can live a life with open arms and an open heart, and no matter how gnarly things are, if you put your energy into the right place, then you can live a very meaningful and special and blessed life. even if, you know, you're not making tons and tons of money, or you're not the biggest rock star or the best surfer in the world, you can, as long as I'm living my life with an open arms and an open heart, you know, I feel like I'm accomplishing something. That kind of got away from me, but that's pretty much all I have.
That was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Your candid, honest goodness. I think we have a little time for questions, so if anybody has anything, can shout out or throw into the chat, whatever you want to do.
Oh, where's the chat here? Oh, thanks guys for the messages in the chat. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lots of thank you. So thank
I
you.
appreciate that so much, guys. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that almost went an hour, but thank you. What's my YouTube channel called? It's just Ben Gravy. You'll see the pineapple. Yeah, pretty much everything I talked about, Karen, is I have video documentation of it. Jamie, wake surfing. I've tried it a bunch. It's super, super fun. Like, the fact that it's an endless wave is absolutely awesome. Have pronounced Cape May Lewis. Cape Lewis.
One of the capes that ferry goes from. Everyone pronounces it differently.
Oh, how do you say it?
I can't tell you. You have to say how you say it.
Oh, I say Cape May Lewis.
Yeah, because Cape May's in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But it's Lewes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
good.
That's how at least you say it there.
Good to know. That's funny. Stephanie, the video of you giving away the heater for free was awesome. Yeah, I struggle with charging people for things. I always end up giving everything away. Lake Champlain, yeah. I went out with the guys from Wind and Waves on their boat one time and foiled. Terrible at foiling, but it was a good experience. Eric, been sober for 10 years. Yeah, thank you, Eric, very much. I appreciate that. Karen, I surfed the wave off of the Nantucket Ferry this past summer, and it was actually awesome. That boat's different than the Cape May Lewes ferry. It's a high-speed ferry, so the boat zooms by and then the wave picks up, and it comes like almost 30 seconds after, so it's kind of confusing, but it's really interesting. Thank you, Eric. I didn't actually look at how many people, but wow, there's a lot of people in here, and I just want to say I'm really grateful for you guys letting me share my story. Thank you. It's an honor for me to talk to you guys, and just to be able to share like positivity and love, and you know, it hasn't always been easy for me, so I really appreciate you guys allowing me to come on. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you again. You're awesome. And that meant so much to all of us. So if anybody has any questions for me or Ben or whatever, reach out and we'll make it happen.
All right, awesome. Zach, I just saw your message. Thank you. And thanks to everyone. I appreciate it. Everyone have a good day, and maybe we'll do this again sometime. Thank you. Woo! That was gnarly. So huge shout out to Burton Snowboards for having me. I'm absolutely honored. And this is an hour-long video, so I'll see you guys next time for the dream.